we got two now, and you'll trade one in, still have two. Yeah. And that money will come out of the cemetery perpetual fund. There's enough money in there to use some of that money. It would just revert back into the general if not. So we've gone that direction with this. It was kind of part of the budget agreement when he talked with us on finance, that we do it this way. So Amy, have any questions or any concerns?
No, Zane says hi, but no, I'm not concerned.
Larry?
Bob's got my support. He's not gonna ask if he doesn't need it, so. Got my vote.
All right, it was easy enough. Painless, Bob, thank you. We'll move that on.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, health insurance premiums. Marla, you want to come up? I sent you guys a couple spreadsheets, but Marla's got some info for you.
I just went ahead and I had extra copies of what I sent out to them.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd trying to see what kind of insurance that we have.
I got plenty. Well, let me see what you got. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jenny.
So on the first page, there's the memo that I sent out to the employees. And we have quite a few of our employees that have email addresses, but there's still a few that doesn't. So the department heads usually help out with the distribution and the posting of some of the memos, especially when it comes to insurance. Some of the departments really helped out collecting the information that the employees completed and bringing it into us. So the next page you're going to see is the 2023 insurance payroll deduction rates. And when you look at this, you can see that there's two different sections. One's going to be for the smoker and one's going to be for the non-smoker. Well, the non-smoker's on top. That's the majority of our employees. And then the medical biweekly amounts are listed. And then I have the dental weekly and the vision biweekly, and then the totals if they would get them all. So what I wanted to concentrate on is the medical biweekly line, because we know the dental and the vision did not change this year. It stayed the same as last year. So when you look at the 5275, which is going to be taken out of every paycheck for our employees. So it's going to be this is the payroll deduction that is going to be twice a month, every 2 weeks. So it's $52.75. Last year it was $57.16, which is only a difference of $5.59 for a single. Now that increases a little bit. So on that single, the annual would be $134.16 for the whole year. And when you look at the line that says employee and spouse, right now it's $144.23 for 2023. Last year it was $127.35. So for the annual amount that's going to be deducted, it's going to be $393.12. Employee and child or children is this year, or next year's 2023 is going to be $121.24. And for 2022 is $108.48. So that was going to be an increase, annual increase for our employees of $306.24. And then the family is a large majority of our employees. This year, or next year, 2023 is going to be $173.95, where in 2022 is $155.65, which was going to be an increase of the family for an annual amount that's going to be deducted of $439.20. So on our insurance rates this year, what they actually increased and how we increased them was by 1.6% of what we thought the increase was going to be for the city to pay. But since we're also trying to reach that amount of 80%, 20% split between city and employee, it increased by 1.5. So, and you can see down at the bottom where it says city/employee percent share, that the employees are now, for the medical, splitting it 83.5 for the city share and 16.5 for the employee share. So little by little, we're going to get to that 20% that they want us to. And Dave had asked me here to see how the employees were receptive of the increases. And to tell you the truth, I didn't really hear any complaints. So if you don't hear any complaints, it's a good thing. But I did hear some comments, and I'll just share with you the comments that I heard from a couple employees. And it's true, I was around when this was taking place. Years ago, it was just starting in that this insurance was just going to go crazy and go so skyrocketed that even the employees didn't know what to do. They didn't know it was going to be an annual increase or whether it was going to be just a one-time increase that was going to hit the employers and the employees. And as we know now, it is an annual increase that we're going to expect every single year for our insurance until something happens that is going to be government controlled some way to keep the expenses down. So at that particular time when the increases were happening and the employees really, and the employers didn't know what to expect, the city employees were compensated by not increasing our wages, our income. They increased, they made that a negotiable thing with our insurance, keeping our insurance costs down, and kind of made, mess with our income, which really wasn't the thing to do. We can look now back and know that it wasn't. I mean, the city employees would have been much better off to take the wage increases and suffered the insurance costs on their own, which they're doing now. But at that particular time, we didn't. So when you hear some of the employees say, we negotiated these rates for the insurance to be low years ago, and now it's not happening for us. Some of us can remember that. That's the way it was. But at that time, I got to admit, I don't think anybody knew what was really going to happen. Of course, shortly after, then they came out with high deductible insurances, and that changed everything again. So I just kind of wanted to let you know, I felt like the $2,500 increases that we had last year and this year, I think our employees really appreciate that. I think that you're considerate of how the finances are going for everybody around the world. So I don't want to make a downer on it because I do feel like the employees are grateful. But I did want to tell you that when they growl about the percents going up, it's because some of them had the history of negotiating their salaries and keeping their insurance down. So, all right. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then on down through this packet is our employee enrollment change form that they all filled out. Employee contact information update, which I know they look out every year and think, why do I have to give them the same information again? But so many people move, and then if their addresses are changed, then they're not going to get their explanation of benefits from their insurance company. They're not going to get any contact information from their vision and dental, tax information. Just real important to keep their addresses accurate for us. And then that next batch of forms is your summary of benefits for our coverage. We still have our $6,000 family in-network deductible, $3,000 individual, $6,000 family. So that's still in effect. It depends on how your health is, how good your insurance looks. If you don't use your insurance very much, it's a great plan. And if you're someone that has even two members in your family that you're having to meet that $6,000 deductible, it seems really large. So everybody's kind of used to it. I don't hear any too many grumbling about that because on our back sheet is our wellness incentive program, the very last sheet. And that does help the employees meet that high deductible. So if they perform their wellness incentive program the way it's planned, they will get $1,000 deposited into their health savings account and another $500 if their spouse is also insured through the city. If that spouse also performs the wellness checks and completes the health at risk assessment like they're supposed to, shows up for their appointments down at the Cass Employer Clinic that we provide. If that's all done, then they get that break that helps them meet their deductibles. So I also put in there, then was also the dental and vision, that those explanation benefits haven't changed any for a few years, and I think our employees appreciate it. It gives them a good discount, even if they maxed out or something isn't covered a lot of times with the particular types of plans that we have, which is the UMR and the Delta Dental and the HSA, or the VSH. It also helps actually save our employees quite a bit of money. So, anybody have any questions on it?
Marla, we had a city employee send an email that had problems getting their child into, I'm assuming it's Cass County thing that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Cass Employer Clinic.
Has that kind of been taken care of a little bit? I mean, is it better now, or is it just the facts of life, or?
It's not good. It's still an issue. The county doesn't seem like they have an issue with it, as we're finding out, and we've done a few things to find out if we can afford the city making some changes, maybe increasing some coverage for us. We just haven't gotten back all the information that we've requested yet. So we thought about possibly going in with the county and getting a nurse practitioner for Tuesday and Thursday, but the county has stated that they're not interested in going in with the city. And right now we're asking to see what the cost would be if it just was for city employees only on Tuesday and Thursday for a half a day. And we haven't received anything back. And that may not even be possible. They may not be able to get a nurse practitioner that would want to work a half a day. And it would be someone different than Cindy Bricknell that we know she cannot cover on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're looking at some maybe possible options. Nothing is secure right now to be able to really give you any information on.
Okay, thank you.
But we're checking on it.
Marla, one last thing I'd like to say is, we just today got the USI proposals for the premiums, and I went home and tried to figure it out.
What do you think?
They had proposed that all of the employee premiums go up 9%, and we feel like we can do it just fine at 3.1.
Yeah, now that would have been a blow to our employees.
Between the program costs and just the 1.5% increase.
Yeah.
We should have funding in place to cover the year. That was what they came up with.
After all that postponing and waiting around, kind of giving us the idea that they're going to try to keep our premiums down.
That's what it came up to. 8.9% increase was what they proposed for
Yeah,
all of us.
Dwayne and I looked at that this morning. I said I don't really have, we kind of looked at some of the figures, but I said I don't have time for that right now because I was in open enrollment, so I kind of set it to the side, but.
So is everyone okay with the proposed 1.5% and the 1.6?
Yep, I am.
All right.
Anyone out there have anything they want to add to that? Okay, thank you, Marla, appreciate it. We'll move that forward. You want to call him up, Carl, or you want me to do it?
Oh, Billy, hey, my friend there. Even though I disagree with him, I still love you, Billy.
Disagree very often. Hopefully not tonight. What's the first thing on the Myers Spring? I sent you all the information. They, again, they're doing an $800,000 investment in Logansport and to keep things rolling out there. It scores out well. They have never been an issue with compliance. In fact, when they came in 2020, I pointed out they had 52 employees. Now they're up to 81. So I fully recommend that we would grant this abatement to them.
I was a little bit surprised by that number, actually, Bill, 81. I had no idea they were that high.
Yeah, they're looking.
This is a plan on Water Street, right?
Correct. It's their, yep. The one they doubled in size a couple of years ago. When we did the real estate abatement, our goal was this was what would happen. They have more space, they can do more things, and so far it's working out.
Anybody have any questions for Bill on it?
Nope.
Good job.
Nice.
Bill,
I sent the resolution in case you approve it.
Yeah.
You should have that, Dwayne.
Let's see. People's Winery.
People's Winery, this I'm bringing forward in case you approve the second reading of the COVID relief money, the $50,000. Looking back in the last year or so, Dave and I kind of targeted two businesses that we thought were the most impacted, which were Emilio's and People's Winery. We used the same methodology with our calculation. We looked at revenue loss over the 3-year period. We looked at the gross profit margin for that they show. We looked at their fixed cost. We came up with a number, then we extracted out any COVID relief money they already got. And with People's Winery, it came out to $7,200. So my request would be if, I know this is kind of out of order, but if you approve the second reading of the COVID relief money for the $50,000, this $7,200 would be part of the 50. It's not new money above that. So 37 of that was Emilio's, that we use the same formula. 7,200 of it would be People's Winery, and then there's some left in case somebody else comes to us.
So Emilio's is not actually getting a full 50.
No, Emilio's already received 37 from you guys earlier this year. If you approve the 50, we're going to pull 37 of that out and reimburse seeded. And then 7,200 of it, if you approve this resolution, will go to People's Winery. We use the same methodology.
I'm good with it.
I'm okay. I agree. It was hurt because
Right. We'll move that forward also, Bill. You just gotta,
Bill, that People Winery is going to come right out of the ARPA, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
In other words, it won't pass through you and then being reimbursed. It will actually just come right from ARPA.
no, I don't want it.
That's right. That's what I figured. So, okay.
In the resolution I sent you, I tried to identify the right funds, so if you could look at that.
Yeah.
And talk about the other one then, Bill. I slipped it up there so you didn't have to come back up.
Yeah, I don't have a request tonight, but this year we have, in the incentive fund line item, we do $150,000. It's always tough to time it because I don't want to spend it too early in the year, and I get to the end of the year and we don't have any funds left. But I do have a request that I'm going to bring forward, but not quite yet. Modern Real Estate, if you're aware of Modern Real Estate, they're in the 500 block of West Market Street. It used to be the old corner cupboard, cut, curl, tan. Now it's this beautiful big building. If you haven't been in it, I would recommend it. It's a very nice facility. Recently, they also purchased the one across the street, which was the old zip-through. And then our friend Gothra bought it. Paul Gothra bought it and didn't do anything with it. So she kind of swooped in and kind of saved that corner. But what they're doing on that corner is they are trying to build a real estate office to accommodate minorities in the real estate market. Right now, there's a lot of confusion. If you've ever dealt in real estate, it's very confusing. There's a lot of disclosures, signage, paperwork, language is tough to follow. So they're wanting to dedicate a whole location to Hispanic population, Haitian population with Haitian and Hispanic realtors. And everything will be in the language that they understand to avoid the confusion. To do this, it's been a pretty big undertaking. Their office across the street that's completed was well over $300,000. This new office is going to be right at $300,000. All said and done, I'm going to be requesting from you less than 10% of that, somewhere in the $50,000 range, but I don't have a request yet. I just wanted to plant the seed, and if you have questions, but that side of town and that corner are going to look a lot better than they ever have. And she's a private tax-paying company. And I think we need this because there is a lot of confusion in real estate. When you get them in the same office and they're all speaking different, and they have the signage is different, the advertising's different, it does get very complicated. So that's to come. And with that, talking to Dwayne, Dave talked to Dwayne that if we pass a resolution to move the gap that we did not spend this year, we can move it to 2023 and not affect your budget. We'll have about $68,100 left in that line item that we did not use at the end of the year, and I'm going to propose that we move that to 2023. Because I do have a project I'm wanting to do. We have the money available in the budget, so that would be my request.
That being my part of town, and God knows it has improved you can tell by the things that they're doing to that building. What about parking? I mean, there's plenty of parking in the back, but
We're trying to acquire the property behind it. It's in a tax sale.
which is the grass lot?
We cannot find the owner. They're in California. We've tried 5 letters. Worst case, she's going to try to buy it in a tax sale, but we're trying to get it before then. So that would be the parking solution. Until then, they'd have to park what's there and then across the street at her other place.
Wasn't there a church back there as well? Church in the little gray house or something?
Yes.
Church right behind it, I think.
Any chance you might want to buy the garage across the street while she's improving that corner?
Hey. There's a lot to be bought over there.
Okay.
If you haven't been inside Modern Real Estate, it's one of the nicest places in town.
It is.
Very nice.
I went there when they had their open house. It's amazing what they did to that place.
Well, I know, I was driving over there on the west side this weekend, and I saw the zip through, and I'm like, hey, whoa, that looks nice. So I didn't know what was going in there, but yeah, both buildings do look very nice.
It's supposed to be open March of '23.
Do I have any questions or any concerns about this?
My only concern is parking at this point.
Well, isn't the gas station across the other street?
Yeah, there's no gas station. I think it's empty again, isn't it?
I mean,
It was a motorcycle repair
Right.
shop, the last thing it
I
was.
think we get caught up in Logansport thinking we have to park at a door. I mean, if we were somewhere else, we'd park at DNR and be happy we found that spot. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Okay. So is everybody okay with moving this forward with those
Well-
stipulations? It would
Yeah,
basically be,
are we, is he asking for it now? or
No,
is-
what I'll be asking for is, I believe it'll be $68,100 that we'll have in seated that we have not used. The resolution I would request, if I bring it forward next week, would be a resolution. I'm not sure the terminology, I don't think it's encumbering, I think it's just allocating it to next year.
I say, as long as you put up the resolution or state the amount to go forward, we don't need to worry about the encumbrance. The resolution is good for the length of time it takes to pay it.
Does he need to state the possible intent for those funds being moved
No.
forward or not?
No,
I don't think so. I'd say no.
yeah.
Okay. I'll work with you on the language. And
Okay.
that was my proposal, that I would bring a resolution next Monday for $68,100 to move that into next year. Then if you deny this request, it's just money that you would have for something else.
All right, we'll move that forward. Let's see.
Thank you.
You want to sit there for just 1 second, Bill? Dwayne, you want to talk about the next one? It's about the revising ordinance 2022-51, the summer
Yeah.
internship.
Yeah, and this was just the ordinance that we've had since I think 2002, was it 20-02, was that the number?
Yeah.
So the issue we talked about before was the nonprofit component of it, and we got hung up with the State Board of Accounts for a while, and finally they agreed with saying it was okay, but they suggested we just amend the ordinance to specifically say anybody with a 501, C3, we could accommodate. So I just amended the ordinance for that, or I will amend the ordinance for that. And then the other thing that I put in was just the language of what the requirements are. So in other words, students out of high school has to be enrolled in college, has to be a local business.
Basically, they can go to any college, but the business has to be in city limits.
Right.
And I,
The only question I had, Bill, was do we pay people, or does there need to be an issue addressing students locally? Like, do we say county students, or, I mean, I don't want to say just city students, but I mean, anybody in the county? I guess what I'm saying is, do we pay somebody who, let's say, is, I don't know, from Kokomo and going to Ivy Tech, and they get an internship at Myers, and then we go ahead and pay Myers, but the chances of keeping those people here are, I don't know if that needs to be addressed, or if you just say, okay, we're going to pay Myers because they did it.
we've never had that
I
I'm,
just think it's a local company. Who they hire, let's don't
might be a good thing.
micromanage.
Might be a good thing if they hire somebody from Kokomo, then they move here. And
Right.
we have about 20 interns a year. And what brought it up is we have like 3 that work for a nonprofit, or intern through a nonprofit. And they're employees too. Nonprofits, they say that they pay the same payroll tax that for-profits do. And that's what CETA is payroll tax. So it's just a clarification, and just to make sure we don't get in trouble with the SBOA.
Yeah.
Program's working great, so thanks for doing it.
So is everybody okay with that amendment?
Yep.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Golf carts. Come on up, Dean and Jan.
Jen, did you run enough paper? I've got the papers you gave me. I've got copies of those for everybody.
I've got the top copy that's most important.
Okay. Okay.
For everybody, yeah. So,
Carts are finally here.
Oh, you did get some,
we
Dean?
got to
Yeah.
pay for them now.
Oh, sweet.
They ordered originally beginning of August of 21.
21.
Yeah, basically, and it's something we're gonna have to think about when we go to replace some of our other carts. Right now, there's over a 2-year wait on them. So when we start going to replace them here in a couple of years, we're 4 years out from replacing the ones we have, in 2 years, we'll need to be pulling the trigger on. If we're still, I just would have guessed we've been catching up somewhat on it, but we're not. We're still 2 years out on carts, so.
So, what we did an RFP, for the 5 local financial institutions, and here's the results of their proposals. And the First Farmers Bank and Trust had the best percentage rate at 3.45%. It's a municipal loan, so it has to be, we have to present documentation that they'll require. But with a $15,000 down payment, that makes our annual payment at the end of every year $16,570.78. In total, it will be like $2,000 less than the others, or maybe that's more like 1,500.
Yeah, about
It's
2,500.
2,000.
About 2,500.
2,500.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we are annually scheduled for $15,000. I mean, in our CIP, we put $15,000 down for golf, for this set of golf carts annually to pay this loan. So we'll have to increase that obviously to 16,571 every year.
It's all in the ballpark.
Yeah.
It's all, and there was, from when we originally ordered, the carts did have a, $400 surcharge on each one. They were more expensive but that's the way everything is. Nobody's surprised, that wasn't a shock there at all. So, I mean, they have even went up more from there, so.
So I think that percentage rate and that payment is relatively good in today's environment, so,
Yeah, it is.
yeah. Now, the one thing that I wanted to be sure you understand too is that we ordered one for the Parks General Fund as well. And so we're wrapping up that 13th cart is going to go to the Parks Department so that we have one to work with to take people out on the trails or whatever we need to do, and for special events or however we use it. And so in the resolution we just passed by the Park Board, next year's payment of $16,570, the amount for the parks golf cart will be paid off within that first year. We'll pay that next year out of next year's budget. And so that'll be part of that first year. So the first year for the golf course will only be 10 something.
10 something. And it's changed.
Like $10,000 to $11,000. So we're good with the funds next year. We don't have to transfer anything in the golf course to pay that $16,570.
Well, let me ask you this, Dee. Oh, go ahead, Carl.
The loan is the 16,570. The loan, if we decide to go with Farmers, it'd be dated what? 2022 or 2023?
It'll be 22. So, I mean, if we're going to pay,
It's due 1 year from probably December sometime?
yeah.
Okay. And once a year we make a payment, it's not a month, okay.
And then, so this year we'll pay the first 15,000 of the overall
Yeah.
75,934.
And that's in your budget, right?
Yes, correct. It works out, everything's really working out pretty well for us. We have the 15,000 this year, 4 years, once.
And it's a 5-year loan?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
Better yet. Like that, Billy. The banker. It would be.
Hey, I just got a
Anyway.
used car loan. I would love
got
that.
a-
I would love that interest rate.
I was gonna say, that's surprising.
So, anyway, I'm working with Kent. What's this, I can't.
Burton.
Burton, yeah, oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, working with Kent Burton at First Farmers, and I explained that we would have the council resolution next week, and then the Board of Works would approve the actual loan, hopefully at Wednesday's, that next Wednesday's meeting. So hopefully next week we'll get this all settled, so.
And we're
Anybody
gonna
have any other
pass,
questions for him?
we're gonna pass this on and vote on it on the 5th, right? Or not?
I don't know that we have to actually vote on this. Dean's
I
got the
mean,
$15,000.
Dean's already got the money?
He's got 15,000 in this year's budget, correct, Dean?
I don't know.
Okay, well-
Yeah, I mean, it's a loan. We didn't know if,
I thought the council had to approve a loan.
we can approve to move it forward, but I don't think we have to do a resolution, do we?
No, not for the budgeted amount, you don't. You may want to, just to cover Jan for the next year, we may want to put a resolution just saying you're gonna, that 6,000, 6,200 or whatever is gonna come out of the budget and not out of Dean's, because we budgeted at 15.
All right,
So we
so
can do
we can
that.
do that.
Okay. But that's gonna be put on the agenda for the 5th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Anything else?
Anything else?
I just, out of curiosity, I wanted you to talk about the contract you're doing for your new software.
Way it started was, we got an email, I think in August, from the company we use now, which is Golf Now. Back in 2009, we started with a company called Four Reservations. A couple years later, they sold out to Golf Now. If anybody's ever watched any golf on the Golf Channel, you see Golf Now all over the place, and they always want you to do online tee times and stuff like that. The way they do it is you give them golf.
I saw that I was reading your stuff there.
And so we didn't want to go that route. I don't want to give them our tee times to sell. A lot of places do it, a lot of people's happy. If we were in Indianapolis or we had several competing courses, maybe that would be something we would be looking into, but it wasn't something that I was big on. Now, every company did it, and now we ended up going with another company called T-Snap. I talked to a couple people. One of them was Jim Humphreys at Chippendale and Kokomo, and he uses it, loves it. It's an iPad software, online tee times, but I mean, we're paying for everything, so that's where it will cost us $6,000 a year. But it's, there will be a lot of marketing stuff we can do in there. We'll build up our database with emails and stuff and pursue that. You'll be able to buy gift certificates online for you could do Black Friday sales and stuff like that. And so there's it gives us a lot of options, I guess. And it's, it's, like I said earlier, the online tee times, I was always a little bit, I didn't think we needed them. Small town, a little bit, give us a call, we'll hook you up and stuff. And that's another thing that I would like, I do like talking to people, because someone calls them once at tee time and we're booked at that time. Sometimes I can, arrange things, different in there. But like I said earlier, the way, everybody uses their phone, to buy something and get on, and it is the way we're going. And I think it will be a big help to us in the coming months and years and stuff. It's the way everyone's going.
I think it's a good move too.
Yeah.
The younger generation, talking on the phone's getting less and less popular. So.
Yeah, they email, they text, they, do everything.
I've been trying to talk him into this for years.
Yeah, and we do a fine job now, but it's just like there a couple weeks ago, we all of a sudden ended up with a really nice day when the forecast wasn't the best. And I had a bunch of people get on tee times, or we had it blocked off, and the Fry boys show up and they didn't have a tee time. Just had to move them back about an hour or so and to get them in there. And I said to them, they had decided the night before to play, and I said, would you guys have got online? And they go, of course we would have. I'm like, and they're not even young. So, it'll be, everybody will use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure, when we've gone on vacations and when Noah'd go with us, he'd take our golf clubs, and I don't know what app he had, but
Yeah.
search for the closest golf courses, and we'd end up on one of them, so.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's
Well,
the way it's going.
that's where we're gonna have to get our increase in market, is people from out of town. So that's, and it's easier for them to just make a tee time online, so.
We had some guys over from Lafayette
Yeah.
this year that they're like, we never knew you were here. you know, and they're like, that's not a bad drive, 40 minutes down the road. I'm like, no. And the Skag boys that, you know, moved to Lafayette, they come over and play all the time just because it's less expensive over here, you know, and playing one of the Lafayette courses. So I think it'll be good. Hopefully it pays for itself, you know, the software.
Thanks, Dean.
Yep.
Jan?
You guys are good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up was the Exide funding. I had asked Jacob to possibly give me some new numbers if he could get them by today. He didn't really come up with any yet, but I did send you what the taxes on Exide property are as of now, and they're just under $20,000. I was just kind of wanting to get a heads up because I had asked him to get us a number by the December 5th meeting to possibly amend that one request we had passed that was only $20,000 for the Exide purchase. So, you know, I'm thinking we're going to probably need more in the area of about $30,000 to do it, but I'll work with Jacob in the next week, so maybe we'll have a definite number on the 5th that we propose. You know, the hope was that we could get a number together so Dwayne could write up an amendment ahead of time, but we haven't gotten that yet. But the taxes are 19,000 something currently. They're a full year behind.
And I'll, whatever the number is that you come up with, I'll put it in, but you guys will have to make the amendment for the ordinance, because you passed it on one reading already.
Yeah, we'd have to
So
make a
you'll have to
motion
make
to
that,
amend and
that amendment and then approve it.
Higher amount, that's to be determined.
And why do we want to pay the taxes?
because the Exide company is upset. They no longer exist. It went into some kind of a trust, and the trust has no money. So what would happen if we don't make the move to purchase it, would eventually go into a tax sale where anybody could buy it for the taxes.
Okay, but are you making a move to purchase it or to pay the taxes?
Well, in order to purchase the property, the taxes have to be paid. And I don't know exactly how the wording in the ordinance is offhand, Amy. I'd have to go back and look. I think it was for the purchase of the property.
Okay. I just need to pay the taxes and then, oh.
No, it would be
Pay the
part,
taxes
it
on
would
it.
be part of the purchase agreement that him and Kelly Lehman have been working with
Okay.
someone on. I don't know exactly who they're working with, but Joel Mark from BCA's been involved. He's the environmental guy.
So will the purchase agreement be part of the resolution or?
I don't know that they'll have the purchase agreement in line. All we'd have is the funding available if the purchase agreement did go through.
We can, well, it'll be worded to say up to 30 amount for the purchase
Okay.
of the property, which would include the payment of the taxes and then any kind of agreement you'd have on top of that. So we can make it say so that it's for the expenses of the purchase and of the property. And that would include the taxes and anything that you would include within that.
Yeah, I'm okay as long as it's not like a fictitious purchase agreement and. Well, I mean, I'm not seeing it.
No, I-
Okay.
I totally agree with that.
But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Now I'll have to go home and read that again. Because I don't know what it says, to be
You know, I'd like to
honest with
pay
you.
my taxes, okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm fine as long as we're going to purchase it.
Oh, I shouldn't have let Jan get out the door, but she did. The next one on here is the trail cameras. And I think you guys all remember the trail cameras all got disconnected when they took down the light plant. And we had appropriated money, let's see if I can find it, $48,000 some dollars to have the cameras redone and put back up. I think they added a couple cameras. Yeah, we passed an ordinance authorizing $48,148.44. And here's the common theme, as with everything, the price went up. And Dwayne and I weren't sure whether 50,567 is the total number, or whether it's that amount plus another 2,566.
And I think the 2,566 is on top of that.
So we'd be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of about 5,000 additional dollars. We have $6,493 in the trail camera fund that we could use to pay the rest of that bill off if the council.
Why'd the number go up? Is that because we were dragging our feet, or because they were
Well-
dragging their feet, or because LME didn't get the poles up, or?
Well, part of it evidently is the timing was not good, because there's two different places in here where they say they incurred $1,000. They charge $1,000 for unexpected and unquoted trips due to delay with power and pole setting. Now, why that all came about, I don't know. That's why I wish I'd asked Jan to stay.
Well, you want to postpone it until she comes back? We vote on it. I mean, what's her timetable putting these up?
It's
They're,
all done.
Oh,
It's all done. It's done.
We have the invoice for it.
And the
It's the problem,
invoice
we need to pay the bill
Is
for it.
due by the 21st of December.
It's up and they're working,
Yes.
and it's through the hospital, right?
Yeah.
And Jan has, I believe, access to this through her computer too, if I'm not mistaken.
She can view it there in her office.
well, she's learning from the mayor, you know, go ahead and do it. Council will pay it, so. I mean, we owe it, we owe it.
I wish she would have updated us and let us know if they were up and going. But, if they gotta have the money, they gotta have the money. I mean, it's not,
Yep, go ahaid and move it. And what are you asking for, 5,000
Just
out
shy
of
of
the six?
just shy of $5,000.
I agree.
Same here.
All righty. Okay.
Where'd they end up putting those, over in the hospital? Is that where it was? Larry?
that's where the headquarter part of it is.
Marla, do you want to come up, talk about some of the handbook changes? Or you want to take that to rules? We can do that, okay. The last thing on the agenda then is the memorial home, and I just was, we've talked about this a little bit before. We're budgeting funds each year in the general fund, but then we're paying all the bills out of the non-reverting. So I'd like to just make a proposal that each year when we designate general fund money for the memorial home, that we transfer it into the non-reverting fund.
What happened to the $150,000? I thought,
It's in there,
okay,
it's in there.
and we're not gonna pay it out of that?
Well, we can, but I'm just saying, we've been budgeting money, and at the end of the year, we just let it go back, and I thought this way, we'd at least stay at even keel till we decided what to do with the.
Because you have that money budgeted, Carl, in the general fund, under the council's
Uh-huh.
fund, but we're not using any of that money. We've used, like, for maintenance,
So-
we've used that memorial home fund for
You
that.
don't want it reverting back to the general?
Right, I just thought
Okay, hey,
keep a balance in
Yeah.
there for the time being.
what are our expenses over there a year now? 20, 10?
No, they're less than 10, I think.
Yeah, we had 300 in mowing this year, and then I think, what did I say, 3,300 in utilities so far? Something like that. So we'll be probably be under 4,000 total.
Well, one day we're gonna have to make a vote to do something with it or tear it down, so,
What would you guys like to do?
well, let's take the 5,000 you recommended. I agree with that. Instead of, put it back.
I'm fine with what you recommended.
Yeah.
You too.
I don't want you taking any votes on
Pardon?
what to do. Wait another year before you decide what to do with that.
Wait another year?
Yeah.
Well, we might as well, we've only been waiting. When's the last time they had something going on over there? 2008?
It'll be a question brought up next year anyway.
Well, that'll probably be brought up in the mayor's
Yeah.
debate that they have out here at the
It'll be
Logan
coming.
Sport Auditorium. Yep, excellent.
All right. That
Ooh,
is
that's
all
good.
that's on the agenda. Is there
I had-
anything that I've forgotten?
Yeah, I've got one that came up today. The mayor's gonna sign the workforce readiness program on Wednesday, and according to what I'm reading, we've gotta have a fund available for that. Like, we'll have to have, because we're receiving, I think, is it 175,000 from Lilly and the grant to pay for that? And so there'll have to be a fund established to put that grant money in, and then for us to pay,
Okay.
and to move TIF money, because TIF is approved, I think 75,000 for that. So all that money will have to be put into a fund, so we need to have the approval that we can create that fund to be able to institute that program.
What's the program?
This is the Make My Move.
To make my move.
The one we voted down, that Billy and them decided to give them $75,000, so.
Okay.
And we still don't know what the rules are on it. what
Billy's
they're gonna
Billy's
do.
not on the tip here.
Oh, he's not on the. Billy has to leave the bouncing board off there. My friend Mike McCord did. I should have tackled him before he left. But,
So they went from mom to dad,
oh,
or
yeah.
dad to mom.
Well, if one doesn't, I don't know. When my friend back in, what was that, in the 90s, he bought Chrysler Credit out of Wichita, Kansas. He went to 82 banks. The 83rd one loaned him $1 billion he needed. So that's what they do to Billy and Mike, and I get them all mixed up, you know. They're both of them look alike, so yeah, I love you both.
Hey, Dwayne, the fire chief is not here, so let me ask you a question. On the tanker we're supposed to be getting, how obligated are we with that? Have we paid a dime for any of that? They got the chassis. Did we pay for that chassis yet?
I don't know that we've got the invoice for the chassis yet.
I thought we had paid for the chassis.
Well, we're supposed to, but I don't know that we got the invoice from it yet,
Oh, well, maybe we did.
is what I'm saying.
Is that still gonna be finished by December 31st, Larry?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And it's kind of like kicking a can down the road. There's other places available to do the same thing for probably the same neighborhood. And I just wanted to know if we were obligated, had we paid
We
anything
haven't,
at this point?
yeah, I don't think we are at this point, so.
Okay.
Well, back to Dwayne's question, we have to then create a fund.
A fund for that,
Okay.
yeah. We just have
Right,
to,
I'm for that.
Do they have a name for it, or you just call it the Make My Move Fund?
yeah, there's actually a name that's in the, I don't have the name for it right off the top of my head, but it's one we'll have to use. And then one other thing that we've got to get through, and this can be done, I guess, when Marla brings up her stuff for the rules meeting. We need to get the holidays set for next year and get that approved, because we're gonna be January 1st. We're gonna be at New Year's, and we need to have those resolutions in place to be able to take the New Year's off.
So that means we're gonna have another special meeting after December the 5th?
Well, either that or we need a rules meeting by Thursday.
Well, I didn't get Scott's agenda. He's down at the Colts game
Well,
tonight, so. Pardon?
Could we do it before, if you guys communicate pretty well, do you think we could just do it
Right before the meeting.
Right
maybe?
before the meeting. I don't, that's fine with me. I don't care. I mean, you guys are the ones that are gonna have to do it. We'll just have to put it together. As far as putting the dates together, it's not hard to do. That part's not.
Yeah.
I've already
Well,
done it at home, but
No,
Yeah.
that's good. I vote
So-
for what Amy said.
Yeah, because I don't want to try to come back down here this week
Why
I
not?
don't either.
Why not use another evening?
Holidays.
Not like we have.
Skip.
But maybe we could do that. So whoever's in charge of Scott, president,
Yeah, I'll talk with him.
I'll call him and
Thank you.
ask him to,
If you're volunteering, sure. Yeah.
yeah, I volunteer for that.
thank you, Carl.
I love Scott.
And just, the other thing, just to give you a heads up, we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to have a couple funds created for the bonds to be able to pay for, the police department and for, Lexington Village.
If I read that right, Dwayne, I read that again this afternoon, that's already been approved, that ordinance we passed, we just have to create them.
We have to create, but to create those numbers, you guys have to approve the numbers.
Well, could you
for
get
'em,
the
and
numbers
I've-
together? We
And
put
I've
that
got,
on the
they're
agenda?
gonna be 33s, they're gonna be like a 3304 and a 3311, I mean, it's gonna be in those numbers. So it'll just be a matter of the naming of it.
Want to have them ready for Monday, or do you need to have them that soon?
I don't know, I gotta get a hold of Andy and see what he says. I'm hoping he'll say, no, we don't have to worry about that, we can wait until the new year, but I'm not gonna hold my breath.
What you got, Bill?
30 seconds. An update on Kaufman Engineering. I know they're not in city limits, but they're close. Next Tuesday, we'll be out at the plant on 25, running every employee through applications and resumes to prepare them for Thursday. We're having a job fair on site for their employees. And as of now, we have like 10 to 15 employers in the city that are going to it that want their employees. So I think we'll have zero problem. If they don't want to retire and they want to keep working, there's plenty of opportunities throughout Logansport to keep them employed. And we also, for the building, we have a couple of prospects already to fill the building and have a new business come here, so.
Really?
Not all bad news. It's a good facility. We're going to get these people placed.
Are these comparable businesses to like Kaufman? Like it's not.
Comparable
It's not like a.
manufacturing, yeah, manufacturing,
Probably pay better.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Kaufman's admittedly said that they weren't the highest paying place around.
Bill, did they still have anything on Main Street or on Burlington Avenue? Because they used to.
Correct. They have two facilities on Burlington left,
Kaufman does.
plus the one on 25, and they have they bought Summit Circuit on Woodlawn Avenue that has like 50 people that work there, and that one's continuing. That's a different division. That's not going anywhere, but the two buildings on Burlington we'll be marketing those for sale, and then the big one on 25. But I think there's only 5 of them retiring, so we're trying to place 146 people, which I'm confident we'll be able to do it.
How's come you couldn't talk the tractor place moving over on 18th Street instead of out at the industrial?
It's ag. They like to be in the ag world, and
Does Anderson still have that lot next beside him?
yes. It's just everything out there is ag related, and it was a better fit for them.
Well, at least they're not as scared of what they've heard from people about being out in that area, right?
No, they weren't.
Good for them.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
All right, anybody else?
Nope, see you Monday.
7:05, we'll call the finance meeting to a close.
Okay, Carl,